Hello again in this installment of Spiritual Wisdom. This is one of my comfortable videos where I'm lying down, but as always I've got a wise message for you, and I'm grateful to all of you who follow me here and of this little community here on YouTube. And if you're new here, my name is Nicholas, and on my channel I talk about witchcraft, Wicca, paganism, self-love, and all matter of philosophical and spiritual topics. So if you're interested in those types of things, please subscribe. Click the bell icon to be notified each time I post a new video, and if you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. Today I'm going to talk about higher powers and what they don't want. So when I speak about higher powers, what I'm referring to is gods, like Goddess Hecate, Goddess Aphrodite, higher beings like gods and spirits. What they don't want human sacrifice. In the past, because people didn't know any better, they would do human sacrifices to these gods. But to the gods, people done that in honour of the gods, because they thought if they didn't do these human sacrifices, the gods would punish them and things like that, because they were afraid. They didn't have the knowledge what we have now. But in fact, back then and even now, the higher powers never wanted human sacrifice, and they don't want human sacrifice because they want us spiritual beings who are having a human experience. They want us to grow, they want us to expand, they want us to reach our dreams, and they want us to reach our highest potential in life. How can you do that if you're sacrificed? So a lot of these higher beings and gods, they do not want human sacrifice. They don't. Because that's a waste of a human being's life. That's a waste of someone's potential. They don't want that. Also, animal sacrifice, they don't want that. You know, there'll be some people that get into witchcraft, get into spirituality, and they get in too deep and they read these grimoires. There's a lot of grimoires out there, and you've got to use discernment when you read a grimoire. You know, when you read certain grimoires, you know, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You've got to fact check what you're reading. You've got to get good review, you know, look at the reviews in a grimoire. Because in a lot of grimoires, there's a lot of personal gnosis, which again, you being, as a medium myself, you're that in between, you're an instrument for spirit to communicate. And personal gnosis, spirit is going to use words, you're going to, when you channel spirit, you're going to interpret that what spirit's telling you in a personal way. You must interpret what you see to the best of your ability, or the energy you pick up. But unfortunately, there are some grimoires out there that have been wrote by edgelords that encourage you in order to become wealthy, in order to become successful and powerful. But you must sacrifice someone, or you must sacrifice animals to become so powerful and all this. This is absolute nonsense, because your real power lies deep within you. You don't need to do an animal sacrifice or some ritual that involves sacrificing a human being or an animal to become powerful, because your real power lies within inside of you. And to awake that power, you simply must practice the art of meditation. That is, meditation. That is a sacred art. And a lot of these higher beings, they want you to grow. They want you to become the best version of yourself. Harming someone, like a human being or an animal, those higher beings see that as a waste of time, a waste of energy. And again, if you do whatever energy you put out, you're always going to get that energy back. So again, that's quite a nasty energy. So a lot of these higher beings, gods, spirits, they don't want that energy. They don't want the energy of pain and suffering. And Goddess Hecate, I work with a lot. She's witnessed a lot of pain and suffering. And she's taught me there's so much pain and suffering in the world. And as a psychic, as a witch, I can feel that there's so much pain and suffering in the world. There's always been pain and suffering, there always will be. But as a spiritual person, we want to reduce that pain and suffering. We don't want to add to it. And these higher beings, they want to help us through life, and they don't want us to have pain and suffering in our soul. There are trickster spirits out there, and that's not me trying to make anyone scared. It's the truth. The truth is, they are trickster spirits. They are negative beings. There's Sarah the divination witch has talked about it. The Wetiko is a real thing. They are spiritual parasites that want to feed off your energy, your fear. They don't want you to grow. They don't want the best version of you. They want you to be in constant pain and suffering. So again, if you do human or animal sacrifices that are wrote in these grimoires, nothing good will come of that. These higher beings do not want that. They want you to grow. They want you to be the best version of yourself. And if you do suffering, you will suffer. So as we're spiritual beings, nothing in this world is physical. Everything is energy. So whatever energy we exchange for our thoughts, words and actions, we're always going to get that energy back. And that's why higher beings, even a lot of beings that are considered demons, these are beings that were once gods in their own right, that have been demonized, like Belial, Beleth, Lilith. Lilith is an ancient goddess, and her roots go all the way back to Mesopotamia. So there are beings that are gods in their own right, but because the dominant religion at the time, which was Judaism and then Christianity, could not get rid of that specific being, they turned that being into a negative character and demonized the worship of this being and made that being into something it's not. So again, and a lot of these higher beings like Beleth, a lot of that, I would say, I'll talk about that in later videos, like making deals or contracts with spirits and deities. That does have a time and a place, but I would really encourage do not make deals with spirits or contracts. Do not enter them blindly. And I would really encourage, don't necessarily make a contract or deal with a spirit or deity. I would encourage you to make a relationship with a deity or spirit, because that's much more beneficial. But always, my message in this video is higher beings like Odin, Horus, Isis, Hecate, gods if you like, even beings that are considered demons like Beleth, Belial, Lilith. But Lilith is a goddess in my eyes, and her roots go all the way back to Mesopotamia. These higher beings do want to see you grow. They want to see you grow and be the best version of yourself. And they want you to awaken your hidden potential, and they want you to reach your highest potential. They don't want you stuck. They don't want you in pain and suffering and darkness. So doing wicked and horrible things, these higher beings are not going to be feeding off of that energy. Be it human because people, unfortunately, it can happen in the right hand path, but it does tend to happen more in the left hand path, where there's a lot of grimoires out there. People just read that grimoire, they read it blindly, they don't decode it, they don't look for a deeper meaning, they just read it blindly, and they follow it like a cooking book. They just follow it like an instruction manual, thinking if they do X, Y and Z, they're going to become so wealthy, so powerful, or they're going to live forever. All these claims are just delusional and not true. And higher beings do not want you to sacrifice animals or humans, because you're doing an act of suffering which is going to make you suffer in some way or capacity. And they are beings that want you to suffer and feed off your suffering. So again, there will be people that read these spiritual grimoires out there, they read them blindly, and then they do these rituals that involve sacrificing animals or humans, and they do unspeakable acts, but they don't help that individual. They just cause that individual pain and suffering. That's what they do, because that individual is, whatever energy you put out, you're always going to get back in some way or capacity. As always, giving you a message of wisdom, knowledge, and that. And the message in this video is higher powers do not want you to do actions that cause pain and suffering to others, because something that causes pain and suffering to others will eventually cause you pain and suffering in the long run. As always, giving you a wise message. Stay safe, stay magical and witchy. Always use your discernment and always listen to your intuition. And do whatever you want in life as long as it doesn't harm anyone. Till next time, stay safe and magical. Blessed be.